And we chose to do this research in two EMEA markets, in the UK and the UAE, as particularly what we are seeing on our platform is that the Middle East really stands out when it comes to online video consumption. So we chose those two markets, and we wanted to design a project that kind of allows us to understand the natural response as people discover online video viewing in their feed environment. So across the two markets, even if we spoke to people, they say that online video viewing has actually increased over the past year by like 71% of people agree with that. And then as I said, yes?
Greta, sorry, can I just pause you a moment? Have you got control of the slides, or has that not come through to you yet?
Yes, I'm advancing the slides.
Oh, you're okay, fine. That's not it's just that's not showing on my screen.
Oh. I'm now on the methodology slide. Is it something that I need to change on my setting?
Hold on just a second.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Okay. Yes, can you see that I've just advanced that, or do you think that you are? Sorry.
I haven't been doing any of those most recent moves, but okay. I was.
Do you want me to continue to advance them, or do you want to do it?
You can do it if you want to.
Okay,
I'll just say
fine.
next slide. Time.
Yes, that's fine. Just say next slide, okay?
Okay, thank you. So on the methodology slide now, which you hopefully can all see now, we basically took a closer look at people 18 and over who watch online video on a regular basis across those two markets, and we partnered with Kantar Media to conduct a lab experiment to observe what happens when people are consuming their mobile video in their personalized feeds. So we inserted basically various creatives across ads and non-ads in a randomized order into select positions into the otherwise completely personalized feeds, and we measured their biometric response to the stimuli. So this included measuring eye tracking and facial coding of the emotional response, which ties actually very nicely into the study that that Luis did and is going to talk about in a minute. So we conducted also a survey to understand the broader online video consumption patterns across both markets. If you go to the next slide, I can give you a little snapshot of how this basically the lab setup looked. And you know what you see at the bottom is basically the second-by-second response, in this case for the emotional response as people were browsing their feed. If you go to the next slide, we uncovered basically, as part of the research, we uncovered 5 drivers that can help explain the shift to online video viewing. And those are smartphones, or the role of mobile basically, shifts in attention, understanding, you know, this new phenomenon of binge watching, understanding how context really counts, and the thrill of novelty. So I'm going to go through all of these in a little bit more detail. So moving to the next slide. On smartphones, we learned that smartphones are definitely by far the most popular device for watching online videos. This is both like in terms of frequency particularly. People are 1.5x more likely to watch video daily on a mobile than on a computer device. And if you click to the next one, I think there's an animation. Oh, no, go back because that was I think you took out the animation, never mind. Mobile has also made it possible to watch video at any time and anywhere. So basically, there are a couple of daily activities that highlighted with stats on the side, you know, whether it's like while it's commuting or while it's queuing, all of those interactions really happen ubiquitously across everyday lives of people, and online video viewing is also part of that, you know, daily journey through people's lives. Even interacting when they are shopping, etc. So 72% agree here. So if you go to the next slide. So there's basically also 2 things on attention that we learned around from the part of this research. And attention is definitely getting shorter, and the majority of people prefer to watch short video compared to long-form content. So 72% agree with that. And if you go to the next slide, in a way, however, when you think about the mobile device and how dear it is to people's lives and how integrated it is really like it offers a solution to this attention challenge. So many people find it easier to focus on a mobile device when they're watching videos, and this is particularly true when you talk to younger people. So they have a 1.2x lift when you look at likeliness to say that they are finding it easier to focus on video on a mobile. If you go to the next slide. So feed environments here, there should be an animation here as well. We know from our internal data as well that feed environments are being consumed faster and more frequently. So this is true across all demographics. So, and the same content is basically consumed in feeds on a mobile in 1.7 seconds versus 2.5 seconds on a desktop device. So that if you basically see the same content across both devices, the consumption and scrolling happens much faster on this mobile device. And we also see huge differences varying by age and with younger people moving more quickly through their feeds. So for creative really to cut through, it needs to be optimized for this mobile environment where more of the volume and opportunity happens. If you go to the next slide. This is on the topic of binge watching, really. Around online video viewing is becoming the second nature, and binge watching is emerging as this new behavior. And again, if you look at the demographic differences here, amongst people surveyed, millennials are much more likely to say that they find themselves watching a large number of videos in a row, and often without even consciously thinking about that. If you go to the next slide. So people want to see content that they connect with personally, right? And it's really about the right combination of intent, context, and preference. And one of our most interesting findings from the lab work in this case, across the UK and the UAE, was that video on Instagram triggers a 1.8x higher levels of joy amongst viewers than the same content across the other platforms that we measured. And the majority of people we spoke to say they like to discover videos related to things that they've watched before. And when it comes to branding especially, they also agree that platforms they watch on are good at recommending branded videos for them. If you go to the next slide. So last but not least, we found that people are actually attracted to the new. This is on the point of novelty. So especially when it involves movement. So again, we understood as part of our lab work, we focused on people reacting to mobile video formats that they might be less familiar with, right? And we found that people spend 5 times longer gazing at this video content in general than a static piece of content in that same position across both Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram also, this is on the point around different types of formats. We found that cinemagraphs, so an image that moves ever so slightly, so it's more like an animated GIF, or you can think of it that way, can still capture people's attention for twice as long than a comparable static image. And on a more exploratory level, we also inserted a 360 video, and we found that it increased people's levels of joy or emotional engagement more than a standard video would have. So if you move to the next slide. Just thought I'd summarize a couple of things that we kind of learned from it and which tie these kinds of consumer behaviors more in a relevant way to some of the marketing objectives that you guys have in mind. So the 3 things that we wanted to leave you with are, the importance of making video for mobile. And then because attention may be scarce, but the mobile device is actually creating this additional opportunity. And if you optimize content for mobile, it is basically the opportunity to ignite that feed for them because people are spending more time and attention to it. The second one is making content short and sweet. Maybe people who've spoken to Facebookers before will have heard that message before, but it's about really the shortness of the content. 1 in 3 people agreeing that the logo of a brand they like could make them actually stop to scroll and watch, and capturing attention quickly to actually make people remember your brand is the one thing that you should be thinking about. And then thirdly, making videos to surprise and delight. This is really about the opportunity there is with new formats and as they are emerging. So our research revealed that people's eyes cannot really resist that new immersive and moving format. And particularly around the 360 video, we were really delighted how people were like enjoying this experience, and particularly when they had the opportunity to move their mobile device. And we think that this is really a great way for visual marketers to explore these opportunities and see how they can work for their brands. Well, in that case, so that's basically it from me. Thank you for listening. So if you go to the next slide, that's just my thank you slide.
Thanks very much, Greta. Well, I'm really pleased that we've been able to focus on video so much in a week, when in the UK it's just been announced that digital video advertising has overtaken display in terms of spend. So I suspect video, if it wasn't at the top of everybody's agendas before, it certainly now is going to be moving forward. So thanks again for that, and let's move to Luis Fernando, who's going to talk to us about measuring the emotional impact of Facebook. Do you want to just unmute yourself, Luis? Hi there. Hello? Just trying to get Luis's sound to come through, so just bear with us a moment.
Hello?
Hi there.
Okay, hi. Can you hear me now, no?
We can hear you fine, thanks very much.
I was muting in 5 different devices.
No
Hello.
problem, that's great, glad you're with us. Now, would you like me to move the slides, or would you like to have control of them?
No, it's okay if I can move. Okay, I can. First of all, thank you for the opportunity of sharing our study, which have some things, a lot of things in common with the previous one, and not only because being focused in Facebook, but other topics too. First thing, going to the point. Okay, going to the point, I would like to speak about methodology. Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
You're okay. Don't worry.
Okay. We try to measure the emotions who can promote the natural surfing in your own Facebook wall. This is an environment where all the users feel quite comfortable, and it was really interesting to see how they receive the advertising. Then we create a quite natural environment and try to use natural approaches to their surfing. And then we use facial coding. You know that you can track more than 20 muscles in the face of the people, and the combination of that muscles show us their emotions. We try to get a big sample and representative of the Spanish population from 18 to 45 years old, and focused in Madrid region, but trying to represent the mobile surfing and the desktop surfing. It was a whole test assimilable to natural Facebook surfing. And we look for active Facebook users, and of course you must understand that recruitment were really a key, because we engage in something as personal as their own Facebook profiles. Okay. Okay. The process was built in 2 phases. The task or the homework for the interviewers was free navigation through their own Facebook wall during 10 minutes. We had to calibrate the tools, defining the baseline of emotions for each interviewed, and develop a tool to synchronize what they see or what they watch with what they feel in that moment. We put a special focus in advertising, 4 seconds before the ad, just during the ad, and 4 seconds after the ad. And after that, we did a questionnaire after the experiment about recall and other kind of things. Of course, you know that the emotions, the measured emotions, was the sense of the usual in the emotions measurement: happiness, surprise, anger, disgust, fear, and sadness. We developed a specific platform where we could see the raw data person by person. But after that, we must aggregate all the individuals. And, for example, sorry. About metrics and KPIs, you have satisfaction, activation, with the capability of generating emotional impact, even positive or negative, balance, and engagement capability. And neutral sentiments and feelings are the more common, and variations are not so sharp as we could think. Then a big peak of any emotion is a strong information. And the main learnings, not only the photographs of our holidays, the main learnings is that, for example,
Sorry,
me.
Let me go back. Sorry,
my finger is faster than in terms of emotional experience, isn't any difference between the navigation with or without advertising? Really important. Formats are usually customized and well integrated. So then the advertising is not intrusive, even in mobile devices. This is something probably if you ask the people and they declare, and the answer is completely different than the measured emotions. And in terms of age,
are we on the right slide? Just to double check, Luis.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In terms of Okay, in terms of age, we detected the best experience among people older than 26 years old, and especially in the range of 26 to 35. But in terms of, there are all other different variables that signed biggest differences than the age. Probably the age is only is an image of the other variables who I'm going to tell you. Regarding emotions, device variable is the most. Oh, sorry.
So,
I don't touch.
I'm on the learning
side. I don't touch anything.
No, I just want to check you're on the right slide. So you're happy. Oh. You want me to be on the previous one, yeah? Just tell me which slide you want to be on, okay?
Okay. I want to go to the 26. Okay. 26.
Fine. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay. Curious. The saturation point is very high, and in mobile it's higher. Curiously, this was a surprise because the declarative searches, as I said, always says just the opposite. And the answer is that in mobile the experience is more intense than in desktop. And then you or the surfers feel more involved in the experience of surfing in their or navigating in their walls. Pass the slide, please. Okay. Okay. Mobile shows more ads than desktop. Mobile has also the best rates in terms of attention and interaction. This is one of the main learnings of the study, because in the other hand, all we know that the traffic to mobile devices is increasing more than in desktop. Next slide. Okay, the most frequent users get the higher emotional activation. This is one of the variables I told you about the age. Younger people or medium range people in the interviewed are the most frequent users of Facebook, and they have the higher emotional activation. Next slide. And oh, of course, one more. And summarizing. One more, please.
Okay.
Okay. Summarizing, Facebook users don't differentiate advertising from content. Not always, but in a great quantity of situations. Advertising on Facebook is integrated, and participants don't find it as intrusive, even in mobile. Or my point is, especially in mobile. The emotional experience on mobile is more intense than on desktop. The personal feelings and the personal approach to our own devices, they are our mobiles are part of our own body. And we have detected higher emotional activation among Facebook active users. And important, it's necessary a clear brand presence if we want to capitalize on emotional impact, because it is obvious. If people don't differentiate advertising from content, it's good news for the people who want to buy brands of products, but to build a brand image or brand values, you need to have a clear brand image. And I think it's the last one, only to say thank you for your attention and happy to receive your questions.
Thanks very much, Luis Fernando. That was really interesting. So it's great to have had two presentations which are closely linked together. So I just wanted to go back to Greta. So I think we'll get both of you in the call now, if that's okay. And then you can each comment, you can each comment on each other's findings, if you like. But Greta, just to come back to you, I wanted to ask you about if you could kind of expand for us a little bit on your thoughts on how advertisers can maximize brand impact with short-form video.
Sure. So our client measurement team do a lot of work in that space. So we have like different parts of the marketing science team focusing on different areas. So we have done a lot of work directly with clients, but also then meta-analyses that try to derive from different campaign measurements that looks at the business objectives that advertisers are looking to achieve on our platform and kind of deriving overarching principles from that. And, you know, some of those results you can also find on facebook.com/IQ, where most of our stuff is published. But I mean, just in a nutshell, we really looked at what Luis referred to in terms of like the position of the brand in the creative, and when it comes to mobile video, that's obviously a challenge where the consumer is very much in charge of being able to watch or dismiss the content they're exposed to. So the positioning of the brand is early in the video is super important when it comes to driving both ad recall as well as message association for advertisers. And we've done a lot of work in that space, and we call it the 3-second edition, so really positioning the brand as early as possible to land that message, even if the creative is not fully watched to its end, is one of the biggest you know, wins for the advertiser.
Okay, great. And what are your thoughts on Luis's findings regarding emotional connections?
So I think it's interesting. Like we have done a similar study looking at like the video, so different types of videos on a mobile device and on a TV screen. So we did that study a couple of years ago, and it was based in the US. But because we used a methodology that didn't look like similar to what we have done in both of our designs, we looked at more implicit measurement where and the cognitive response. So we really, you know, learned there similarly that it's actually a lot more, you know, the focus is a lot stronger on the mobile device. So I'm not surprised really that both also the emotional, you know, intensity of the experience is high on that mobile device. That fact definitely resonated a lot with me.
Okay, that's interesting. And Luis, do you have any further comment on that?
No. It was really curious to see the study of the Greta's team because it has a lot of similarities with the objectives. We try to do something similar in previous years, but using TV watching. But the variables of differentiating were if the type of content that the people watch it by TV, for example, different emotions and different perceptions of advertising, depending on if it were a series, a cinema, sports, and others. And the most interesting was that the emotions were moved in a different way if they were in a group of people or they were alone. it will be it was the part of the idea to do this new study, and around this kind of measurement, not only make declarative questionnaires people it was the idea, the origin of the idea for these new studies.
Great, thanks. So I think it would be good for us to kind of discuss the implications for broader media planning for a moment, because obviously we've got more and more consumption shifting to video, but then thinking about what we've seen here in terms of people's reaction to video on Facebook. How do you think that's going to affect the remainder of people's media planning? What trends do you expect to see in media planning overall?
It's difficult to give the name of trends, because it's not only trends. It's our daily work. It's the real time and now fact. Attention and interaction capabilities of mobile devices are the key. Mobile is our more personal device, and the one who is with us along the day, and it creates a big amount of data, and the big amount of data that mobile devices can get in real time, mixed with the personal issues, is the chip behind our ears, like dogs, and the control center for the becoming wearables.
Yeah.
We see the mobile is the pivot device for omnichannel media planning, and is absolutely necessary in data-driven business, who is the actual point of view of the media planning.
Thanks. Greta, do you want to add to that?
Sure. So I think from the marketing science overall perspective within Facebook, I think we always focus on that a good campaign should always start with a good understanding of the consumer behavior, but then also really translate this into a people-based media plan. So really understanding where people are at what time of their day, and being able to translate those consumer insights into something that can actually be executed when you come to selecting channels and building creative and positioning the different assets. I think that's really when all of those things come together well. And this people-based planning approach then should also translate into a measurement strategy at the end of that, where you really start leveraging some of the new opportunities there are when it comes to cross-channel impact, and understanding the different parts of the people-based plan that are delivering value to advertisers. So coming from that point of view is really what we think is kind of best practice and the biggest trend when it comes to media planning, and how consumer insights should kind of feed into that. And again, I mean, it's about understanding those different channels and the value that they add, so that campaign strategy can be optimized towards that.
Okay, that's great. So I think we will wrap up there. I don't think we've got any further questions. I think we've covered most things for now. So it just remains for me to thank our participants very much for your help today in presenting this. And I'm sorry that we had a couple of issues early on with sound, I think, for a couple of people. Hopefully that got corrected as we went through. So just as I mentioned earlier, you can visit our website to find more details of other case studies that have won our research awards, and you can watch and recap on the webinar recording, which will be available soon on our website. So please give us any further feedback that you have, and please look out for further webinars, both in this series, but also in IAB Europe's webinars on other topics, such as programmatic advertising or policy. Our GDPR webinars are running also at the moment. So thanks again, Greta and Luis, for a great webinar, and looking forward to hearing more future case studies from you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.